Show me where the incompetent Pua guy works.
Maddie said, ruining my excitement for the long-awaited class reunion. She always says mean things to me and tries to one-up me like this. The reason? Because I wasn't very good at studying during our school days. I felt annoyed by her lingering resentment even at the age of 40. But at the same time, I couldn't help but be impressed by how well she remembers such things. Maddie apparently wants to see where I, whom she considers incompetent for not being able to study well, work. So, after the reunion, I decided to take her to the president's office of her husband's company. She left, not knowing that I am the president of a major company with 7,500 employees. But when her husband came out of the office to explain the situation, her face turned pale. And then, I regretted my behavior up until now. My name is Ethan. I'm turning 40 this year. I run a company with 7,500 employees, and I finally reached a point where I can take some time off. When I first started my business, I was so busy that I didn't have any time to spare, and I had to decline invitations to class reunions. But this time, I've agreed to attend. This reunion will include people from my class in high school, whom I haven't seen in decades. As I looked through the yearbook to confirm the attendees, among the familiar faces, there was one person who elicited a feeling of disgust. That person was Maddie, who used to take charge of our class and was a member of the so-called popular group. As I gazed at her photo, memories from the past involuntarily flooded back. It was around July in the 12th grade in high school. I was unlucky enough to be surrounded by girls after a seating change. As someone who liked to gossip with friends during class, it wasn't the best environment for me. And then, an incident occurred. That day, my buddy was absent, and I was eating lunch alone. Girls were clustering around the desks nearby, and although I felt a bit uncomfortable, I continued eating my meal. I heard the beautiful chirping of birds from outside the window, so I suddenly wanted to see the outside view and looked up towards the window. That's when my eyes met with a girl who happened to be nearby. That girl was Maddie.
Hey, what are you looking at? You were checking my breast out, weren't you?
I was just trying to look outside the window.
Ooh, you're saying I misunderstood?
No, that's not what I meant.
For some reason, she suspected that I was checking out her breast and kept making accusatory remarks throughout lunch break. Moreover, since her voice echoed throughout the classroom, her suspicion also became the cause of my classmates' cold stares. No matter how much I tried to explain, Maddie seemed intent on painting me as the villain. Eventually, the misunderstanding among my classmates was cleared up, but from that day on, Maddie and her friends started harassing me.
You're looking at me again, huh? It's creepy, so stop it.
I told you, I'm not looking at you, Maddie.
I wonder.
She would often make baseless accusations like this, and sometimes even hide my textbooks. While my classmates and friends would always come to my rescue, Maddie never stopped her harassment. If anything, seeing that I had allies seemed to anger her even more, causing her to escalate her behavior. For example, she once wrote a fake love letter to me, called me out, and then laughed at me when she saw me waiting earnestly. Or she would designate a different meeting spot for the class gathering than the one everyone else knew about. Luckily, I had plans to go to the gathering with my friends, so I managed to find the correct meeting spot. In this manner, Maddie continued her harassment of me until graduation. I had completely forgotten about it after graduation, but apparently, Maddie is also attending this reunion. Despite feeling somewhat uneasy, I was looking forward to seeing my old classmates again after a long time. A month after receiving the invitation, the day of the reunion arrived. Since I had finished important work the day before, I could fully enjoy the reunion today without any worries. With a mix of nervousness and excitement, I headed to the reunion venue. Apparently, there were a lot of attendees this time, so they rented a slightly upscale venue. The plan was to use a luxury hotel as the venue, and the fee was set at $100 per person, which was quite high. But at the age of 40, there were probably many people who could easily afford that amount of money. I took the elevator to the designated floor and checked the information board. Then, I handed the envelope containing the fee to a classmate at the reception and entered the venue, where some people had already arrived. As I scanned the venue, I immediately spotted Maddie. I tried to move to the edge as I didn't want to interact with her, but unfortunately, it seemed like I caught her attention. When Maddie noticed me, she happily ran over to me.
I can't believe you're actually attending the reunion. Did you pay the fee properly?
Long time no see. I paid it properly at the reception.
Really? I wonder, did someone else pay for you anyway?
No, I paid out of my own pocket. Right off the bat, Maddie started making sarcastic remarks to me. Even though she's turning 40, I thought she would have grown into a more mature personality, but she's still the same as she was in school. Disappointed that my faint hope of being able to get along with her now had been dashed, I decided to go get a drink, albeit somewhat dejectedly. I went to get a drink to avoid Maddie, but for some reason, she followed me. And then, she started asking me about what job I'm doing now, how much money I have, and various other things.
Hey, where do you work now?
Well,
Can't say, huh? My husband works for a major company, and he's really handsome.
as I hesitated to answer, Maddie seemed to have figured I must be working somewhere I can't talk about, so she started talking about her husband. She met her husband at a singles mixer, and they got married right away. Since they could live on her husband's salary alone, Maddie became a housewife. And now, they've been blessed with 2 children and are living a comfortable life.
Well, I'm not like you. A poor guy.
Poor guy.
Well, aren't you? You couldn't study at all in school, right?
That's decades ago, you know. It seems that Maddie remembers that I was bad at studying, and she keeps teasing me about it even now. While feeling frustrated that she's still holding on to that even at the age of 40, I can't help but be impressed that she remembers such things. Maddie has always been considered cute, and although our grades were probably not much different, she has quite a high self-esteem. It would be fine if she just had high self-esteem, but it's troublesome that she tries to put others down to elevate herself. It seems that my classmates can hear Maddie's voice, and although they're clearly frowning, Maddie continues to list her complaints about me in front of everyone. After a while, the reunion began, and I was satisfied to be able to talk to my old friends. But as the event approached its end, I found myself being harassed by Maddie again.
Let me see where the incompetent poor guy works.
My workplace?
Yay, yeah. You must be free after this, right? Take me there.
It seems she still wants to look down on me. Although I hesitated a bit, I couldn't just let her keep misunderstanding, so I decided to take her to my workplace. All right, meet me in front of the hotel after the reunion.
Looking forward to it. You're probably working in some rundown building, right?
Afterward, Maddie and I met in front of the hotel and took a taxi to my workplace. My workplace is in a prime location in downtown area. As the taxi approached the city, Maddie started to fidget nervously. And when I got out of the taxi in front of a large building, she looked around anxiously.
So where's your workplace?
Right here. This building in front of us.
This building is your workplace. Oh, I see. You work as a janitor or security guard here, right?
Perhaps feeling more flustered than she expected at the sight of a larger building, Maddie began talking as if I were dispatched to work in the building rather than the fact that I worked there officially. But I'm the president who manages this entire building, and she needs to know that. Interrupting Maddie, I told her the truth. I'm the president of the company in this building, whether you want to believe it or not.
President. Saying you're an employee would be more believable than president.
So you think, about 10 years ago, I started a company from scratch and became the president.
Don't lie, there's no way you could become president. Show me some proof.
Maddie demanded proof that I'm the president of the company. So I took out my business card from my pocket. Then, I took out one of them politely. I handed it to her with both hands. Taking the business card from me, Maddie stared at the words written on it as if she could bore a hole through it. Well, it says president on it, doesn't it? Will you believe me now?
You can't expect me to believe this. Anyone can forge a business card.
Why are you so unwilling to admit that I'm the president?
Because you were mediocre since school, not very bright. And the idea that someone like you is more successful than me. It's just.
It seems like Maddie doesn't want to admit that I'm the president because she doesn't want to think I'm more successful than her. I don't think being a president necessarily means success, but at least I feel happier than her, who seems to care only about appearances, pride, and status. Looking at the business card again, Maddie seemed to realize something.
Wait a minute. Come to think of it, the name of the company, it might be the same as the one my husband works for.
Surprisingly, Maddie's husband, whom she was bragging about, works at my company. Nevertheless, I wonder what kind of conversations they have if she's only vaguely aware of the name of the company her own husband works for. Putting that aside, I decided to ask for more details. When she mentioned that the industry and company names were similar, and I heard about the business content, I was almost certain that her husband was working at my company.
So, does that mean my husband works under you? It's unbelievable.
If that's really the case, it's quite ironic.
What's so ironic?
It's you who look down on me so much. I blurted out such words, feeling all the frustration building up. Normally, I wouldn't speak ill or sarcastically about others, but conversations with Maddie always seemed to throw me off. Maddie, having been provoked by me, trembled as she clenched her fists. I might end up being yelled at if this continues. How can I avoid this situation? Just as I was thinking about it, someone came running from the building.
Oh, Maddie, what are you doing here?
It was Tom, Maddie's husband. Now it was clear that Maddie's husband was working at my company. Despite feeling awkward, Maddie greeted Tom.
I just happened to pass by here.
I see. Wait, did I tell you, Maddie, where my workplace is?
You did. It was on your business card.
Did I even give you my business card? By the way, why are you with the president?
It seems like Tom questioned why Maddie was with me and asked her about it. But she was visibly flustered now that it was clear I was the president. So, I decided to explain everything in her place. Well, your wife and I are former classmates, and she asked me to show her where I work.
She's your ex-classmate. But why would she want to see the president's workplace?
Wait a minute. I won't forgive you if you say anything more.
Your wife has been harassing me since school, and today she wanted to see the workplace of a useless school guy. The moment Tom heard my words, he froze with a surprised expression. He probably never imagined that his wife would do such a thing to the president. Maddie, realizing that her misdeeds got known by her husband, was sweating profusely. It seems that she hadn't shown her true colors to Tom. Most likely, she must have been showing him only the parts she had covered up. Maddie was good at ingratiating herself with teachers and making allies since her school days. So it's no wonder.
Let me hear the details.
Well, you see, that was just, a joke between classmates. Don't take it seriously, okay?
That wasn't a joke. Are you planning to harass me and then make excuses?
Shut up, you're such a loser. Annoying me so much.
Maddie finally raised her voice in response to my remarks. She looked startled and covered her mouth with her hand, but it was too late. Tom seemed to be suspicious of Maddie now. Back in high school, Maddie had changed partners quite frequently, but her true nature had been exposed, leading to breakups. Perhaps history would repeat itself this time. She seemed to realize this herself, as she looked at Tom with a frightened expression. Come to think of it, Maddie had mentioned being a housewife. If Tom were to mention divorce here, it would be quite a scene. However, Tom didn't immediately mention divorce. He couldn't forgive his wife for disrespecting me, the president, but he said something like this.
I'm disappointed in you, Maddie. I thought you were a good wife.
I haven't done anything wrong. It's true. Please believe me, not this guy.
The president wouldn't lie. Besides, actually, there was a small matter our kids wanted to discuss.
A matter. What is it?
Apparently, the children had noticed Maddie's bad personality and had been consulting their father, Tom. With numerous troubles at their children's school and demands for special treatment from their teachers, the children were quite stressed out. She's trying to one-up the other moms in her circle of friends and orders her homeroom teachers to give her children preferential treatment. Upon hearing this from Tom, I couldn't help but nod. I haven't seen Maddie since the 12th grade, but somehow I could imagine it. I had hoped Maddie would become a better person, but it seems my bet was off.
I don't have time to deal with you right now. Just get out of here.
Hey, what's with the attitude toward the president?
As Maddie and Tom's argument heated up, I decided to make myself scarce. There was nothing to gain by staying there any longer. I'd only get dragged into their dispute. I quietly slipped away, but Maddie seemed completely unaware of my departure. 3 days later, Tom came to me and filled me in on the situation. It seems Maddie had an excessive fondness for children and inadvertently vented toxicity around her. And surprisingly, during our school days, she harbored animosity towards me. Apparently, she envied situations where I had many friends or a close-knit family. I always considered myself ordinary and unremarkable, but it seemed different to Maddie. So, Tom began to express how grateful he was towards me. Tom had difficulties with job hunting and had no choice but to take physically demanding jobs. At that time, I happened to approach Tom, who was feeling down in the park. I proposed to him that if he was job hunting, he could work at our company. Back then, our startup couldn't afford high salaries, but now, as the company has grown, we pay salaries commensurate with abilities. I was grateful that Tom considered working in a situation where there were hardly any employees, and it seemed Tom was also grateful to me.
If you hadn't approached me back then, I wonder what would have happened.
I'm the one who's truly grateful for accepting my proposal at that time.
When I told my wife about that, she stopped objecting altogether.
So, have you made up now? Upon hearing this, Tom nodded vigorously. Although I couldn't forgive the harassment Maddie had done, she might have had her own struggles and conflicts. It seems I just happened to be the target of her harassment. Maddie still sulks occasionally, but I heard she's wearing a kinder expression than before. And recently, for Valentine's Day, Tom inexplicably gave me chocolates. When I learned that the sender of the chocolates was Maddie, I couldn't help but be surprised. Why would Maddie give me chocolates?
I think it's probably her way of apologizing. Please accept them.
An apology? Huh. In that case, I have no choice but to accept them. Saying that, I accepted the chocolates offered to me. When I unwrapped them, there was a letter inside with words of apology written on it. At the time of the reunion, I still disliked Maddie, but now I don't feel much anger. I wondered if my heart could really change with just these chocolates and a letter, but somehow, I feel like I glimpsed her true feelings from those two things. Surely, Maddie must have a personality that struggles to be straightforward. As I ate the chocolates I received with my wife, I pondered such things. After the reunion, I went back to my usual daily life. It's a busy period now, and there are times when I have to work overtime, but I make sure to secure time with my family. Because I believe that my current health and well-being are thanks to my wife's lovingly prepared healthy meals. When I'm alone, I tend to rely on frozen food or ready-to-eat meals. But knowing that my wife is at home waiting with a delicious meal makes me even more motivated to work hard. Moreover, she's even started making me lunches so I can take them to work lately. Perhaps my wife, who used to be busy with the kids all the time, has a little more time on her hands now. While I chow down on such lovingly prepared meals by my dear wife, I focused on my documents. We're gearing up for some discussions about expanding overseas soon. Driven by the desire to make my company known worldwide, I'm making preparations for this overseas expansion. I might get busier again, but as long as I can make time for it, that's all that matters. Whether I'm having meals with my family, indulging in some late-night ready-to-eat meals, or buried in paperwork and staring at my computer screen, I still feel happy. It's like I can truly feel alive. I have work to do and a family to protect. That's all I need.